prejudging review of the 2025 Detroit Pro. What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back for the prejudging review of the 2025 Detroit Pro. This is your first call out, last call out, both. It was the same for the first and the last call out. I thought we might see like a top 2 or a top 3 maybe at the very end, but they decided to bring all 4 guys out. So from left to right, we've got Ron Gordon on the far left, we've got William Bonac next to him, Sasan Herati on the right middle, and then James Hollinghead on the far right. And I've got to say, a lot of these guys brought really, really good packages, but let's go through it sort of pose by pose as we watch this. And you sort of see William Bonac there second on the left in the middle. He's just so dense. This is a very big package of William Bonac. I would say it's probably slightly fuller than the Arnold. The legs look great, which is something like Fouad and Ian Valier were mentioning on the commentary. Also, this footage is courtesy of Fouad Abiad's channel. The link to the full video is in the description below as well. Shout out to Fouad and the whole team that puts on the Detroit Pro for doing a live stream. Absolutely awesome. But you get to see the density really of William Bonac here. But Sasan Herati made his comeback last year after many years off the stage, and he came back really good here. And as you can see in the back double bicep, like, yes, he's not opening it up perfectly when he repositioned it, but there's a lot of density still in there from Sasan, and this has sort of been noted maybe as one of his weaker poses. But I've got to say, he improved that a lot, and he's got some great details. Does he beat William Bonac on this pose? I don't think so. Does he beat James Hollinghead? Maybe not there as well, because James really brought in a much bigger, much more impressive physique, and they actually switched James into the middle in the very last round of call-outs and moved William Bonac out. That may well be because William Bonac is winning this show clearly enough in the judges' eyes that they decided to do that. They might just want to see William next to Sasan in slightly different lighting, because the better lighting definitely was in the middle of this stage. The lighting was phenomenal. But at least by the stream, like you can see where Ron Gordon is there on the far left, he was definitely in the worst of the lighting. So it was a little bit harder to judge him against these guys. So if he got a chance in the middle, maybe he would have looked a lot better, because individually he looked really good too. But I've got to say that James was definitely much, much bigger. You can see here on the far right, maybe not quite as detailed as the Arnold, and there's a package somewhere in between that, which would be his very best. But a great recovery from the Arnold as well, and came in much fuller, much better. And you can see here where they switched over. James Hollinghead, where he moved into the middle. Is that to compare James with Ron Gordon? Is that to compare James with Sasan Herati? I'd say that's probably the most likely of the two. But Sasan had a lot of pop on stage. I'd say that's the one thing that sort of stood out for me in maybe leaning Sasan over James, but James has a lot of muscle there as well. So it was great to see James get up there, and if he can bring just that little bit more like detail with this fullness, and I know that's easier said than done, he's definitely going to be a contender. But for me, I'd say it comes down to Sasan and William Bonac on my right, and you can see him here in this lighting. Definitely not as flattering here for William Bonac, and James really does start to come alive as he's in the middle of his call out, and I think he just got better and better through prejudging as well. So shout out to James, and also Ron Gordon brought a great package as well. He always looks phenomenal. Maybe not quite as crisp as last year, which might hurt him a little bit, maybe a little bit fuller, but that's a trade-off that a really tall guy like Ron Gordon, he has to sort of choose what he's going to do in terms of, is he going to come in a little bit fuller or going to come in, razor sharp. But yeah, for me, the way I think it will play out after prejudging for the open men, I'd have William Bonac winning this, but I'm really not sure, to be honest. Looking at the footage, it is very, very close. Sasan Herati does have some poses that he wins over William. He has some knockout shots, and the deep, I suppose, detail for Sasan, and also just the pop to the muscle. It's something you really notice, and that's something that William has in spades. And I will say one thing, and I've mentioned it many times on this channel, but William Bonac in person is always a different story. He's just unbelievable to see in person, I think. And that's the reason why I'd probably say William is winning this, and Sasan probably in second. I think Sasan looks phenomenal. He definitely improved on last year. The back double bicep was massively improved, and yeah, you got to give him his flowers for that. Definitely an impressive physique that he brought to the stage. And James Hollinghead actually called it on Bodybuilding and Bollocks. It seems like he was actually the guy who was the highest on Sasan. And he's proving to be right so far, because Sasan looks absolutely phenomenal. Now, we'll touch on a few other guys in this as well. One guy I wanted to mention was Carlos Thomas Jr. To me, by the call-outs, he was in the second call-out, and he wasn't in the middle of that either. He wasn't even next to the guy in the middle. So they had, one guy in the middle, two guys either side of him, and then Carlos Thomas was one of those next guys, and then I think there was even a guy outside of him. It was quite a big second call-out. And to me, by that call-out from Prejudging, they have Carlos in 8th or 9th, I'd have to guess, in Prejudging. So obviously Carlos would be disappointed by this sort of potential placing, but he can definitely maybe come back a little bit tighter for finals, but it is a one-day show as well. So Carlos won't be, I suppose, realising the placing that he wants here. And I don't know if we're going to continue to see Carlos compete. I don't know if he's going to hit a whole bunch of shows, or if he's going to, wait the season out or not. But I'm very intrigued to see that. And hopefully I'll get Carlos on a podcast coming up soon as well. Now, this is Bartley Weaver. This hasn't really been highlighted that much. A few people have spoken about it recently because he is making his open debut here at the Detroit Pro. Bartley's actually a professional eater. I think he's finished in the top 5 of the Nathan's Hot Dog eating contest, which is the most famous eating challenge in the world. Well, eating competition, where there's some serious money up if you actually win that. So it's crazy that he's an Open Pro bodybuilder, but shout out to Bartley and representing, obviously, on the IFBB Pro stage. And one other guy I'll mention as well, making his pro debut, was Justin White, or Justin Abbott. I'm not sure if, I believe Phil had said this was Justin Abbott. I thought his name was Justin White, but very, very thick dude, and yeah, absolutely massive there. And in the classic physique, you got Matt Greggo and Wesley Vissers. Both looked phenomenal here. And honestly, this is one that could go either way, and it's probably one where you'd want to be there in person to sort of make the decision. But I think Wesley definitely bounced back really well here. In this side chest, I'd probably have Wesley winning it, but you got to say it's definitely close. And Matt Greggo looks phenomenal as always, but it's definitely a good competition between these guys. Wesley's legs is the thing that hurts him, but he's definitely brought the fullness back to this contest. I've said, as many have said as well, they would love to see Wesley in the open class at some stage, and I think Matt Greggo will end up in the open class at some stage as well. So I think we may see these guys battle in the future on an open stage, but let me know what you think in the comments below. For this contest, I honestly don't know who I have winning in this one. It seems incredibly close. Wesley came back a lot better, but Matt Greggo was ahead of him at the Arnold Classic, and I think rightfully so as well. So let me know what you think in the comments. Who do you have winning, Wesley Vissers or Matt Greggo? Who do you have in the open? Is it William Bonac? Is it Sasan Herati James Hollinghead? Let me know your thoughts below. Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding. We are out.